What's happening, guys? So Nate back here, and I hope you like my setup. I got a little dark setting going on. I wanted to try something different. I think it looks pretty cool. Let me know what you think. So in today's video, I wanted to tell you a little story. I know you guys love story time. Just by looking at the analytics a little bit, you guys love story time. I don't know why, but yeah, we're gonna go into a little story today about the time I almost lost my business. Roll the clip. I don't know, it was about this time last year, about April 2017. Now, this is the first time? It might be the first time I almost lost the business. No, this is the second time I almost lost my business. And now there's actually a third time since this time it happened, something else happened crazy, and I'll tell you a story about that in another video. In this time, we're talking about how I screwed up my business so massively that I went from $9,000, $10,000, $11,000 a day consistently, like let's say the entire 2017 from January, February, March, and then April hit, I screwed up. We were doing $8,000 to $10,000 a day. It was amazing. Everything was going good. Growing the business like crazy. In the beginning of 2017, I was 4 employees. By April, we were at 19 or 21 or something like that. I think at our peak we had 23 employees, 23 staff in my office here in Thailand. Now that's fun to never having staff before. Like I've always been independent. Like I like to work by myself, have my own company. When you go from like just doing everything yourself and then to having this massive amount of workforce behind you, you get a lot more done. You can get a lot more done. Well, the idea behind hiring all this staff was, hey, you know what? Business is good. Let's scale up. Let's get more designers on staff. Let's scale up designs. Let's scale up testing. Let's scale up niches. Let's create more stores. Let's create many, many more brands. Because right at that time in 2017, just had one main brand. I went on a hiring like craze in February, March. And I hired so many people during that time. Every day I had 3 or 4 interviews lined up back to back to back. Probably interviewed like 50 people in that span of the 2 months. It was crazy. It was definitely an experience. And half these interviews, I'm in Thailand, so they don't speak English. I had a translator sitting next to me. And like for designs, I don't care if they speak English, or for designers, I don't care if they speak English. It's okay, whatever. As long as they can do good designs. So my process was I look at their portfolio. I ask them a couple questions. Where do you work now? Where do you want to work? Or what's your ideal job? Are you okay with these work hours? Can you? And then I would give them a sample. Okay, here, your portfolio looks good. Here's a sample. Come back with me in 2 days. I want 5 design examples. Give them a topic. They come back. And then depending on whatever, we would hire. We grew the team. So that's a little story about how I hired a little bit. Grew the team. We were up like 21 or 23, I think, employees. We started building out all of these funnels, a lot of funnels. Not everybody's getting trained, everybody's getting up to speed, figuring out what they're doing, how they're fitting into the position that I hired them for. In the first month, it was crazy. Like in end of March and early April, it was just crazy in the office. So many people, so many, I don't know, come, and I would sit there and have to, okay, so you're working on this, because nobody knew, right? No, it was just madness. So let's say sometime in April, I don't know, we were scaling up really, really hard, and we were doing some pretty good numbers. I said we were doing 8 to 10 in 2017, and we wanted to scale. Then we got up to 12 to 15, and our best day in April of 2017 was like 17,000 for a day, and so things were good, right? And then I had this crazy idea. I said, okay, things are good, but we can make them better. Yeah, famous last words. What happened was, I think I explained this to you in another video. I use Upsell Software, one-click Upsell Software, and this software, I route people from my Shopify store into this other software. And then they go through that checkout and they get to see all the little options to buy extra stuff after, right? But without getting too technical, I have my Facebook pixel. That Facebook pixel was always placed, manually placed. I call it hard code. I like Trackify. It's a Pixel software app. If you know anything about Shopify apps, go check it out. It's really good. I trust that app, but I don't trust a lot of apps, and I don't trust a lot of automatic configurations. I like to copy and paste the code and put it on the page directly. That way I know, you know what, as long as the page loads, the pixel is gonna fire. So I don't know, we had like 400 or 500 funnels, different product funnels for different products, different designs. So if we had a horse design wallet case, we had a banana design wallet case, a bearded dragon, whatever. We had all these. We had like 400 or 500 different wallet case design funnels, like a funnel specifically for one of each of these. And each of those products, you know, started selling. The campaigns are, you know, maybe 2-3 sales a day or whatever, small. But when you got like 400 funnels, 2 sales a day each, I mean, like, it adds up. We were doing a lot of sales. We were doing like close to 700 sales a day on one store. Well, not really one store because there's 400 separate funnels, not through the store, right? But everything was imported back into Shopify. So the customer never saw the store. That's my point. It's like we just made a funnel, sent it and dropped it into and imported back into Shopify so we can keep track of everything. So all of these funnels, right? And my idea was, oh, you know what? We should rearrange because I have this new upsell idea. This upsell idea is so much better than what we were doing. Let's put this upsell first and let's move the upsell that's currently there, let's move that second. And so what did I do? I was like, you know, the fastest way to see results is we change them all at one time. We changed all the funnels at the same time. So now I have a massive amount of staff. I got 23 staff. I have no problem making that update. I got everybody hands on deck and I sat down and teach them for the day. I was like, okay, so today we're updating 450 funnels. We are getting to work. Let's update everything in today or tomorrow. So everybody can do like whatever, you know, 10 a day and we're finished, you know, in 2 days. And so, you know, we updated all 450 funnels. We moved upsell 1 to upsell 2 and we put a new upsell in number 1 and then number 2 became number 3 or whatever. So I was like, perfect. Okay, so now sales are coming in and I can see from the stats that, you know, upsell 1, the new one we put in there is doing really well. So I'm thinking everything's really good. I'm thinking, amen, that was a good decision, you know, like awesomeness. Then day 2 comes and I have a bad sale. I mean, I have bad sales that day. I was like, oh, it must be a fluke. You know, I'm down like 30%. Day 4 comes, I'm down even more. Now I'm thinking, hey, wait a second. I've never been down, you know, 40%. I've never had a day that I've been down this much. Because I have so many funnels, different products selling in so many different niches, like I create a really consistent in my business. It's plus or minus 10% max on any given day. It's if I have 300 sales today, it's 310 tomorrow, it's 290 the next day, it's 301 the next day after that. It's very, very consistent, plus or minus, you know, but all of a sudden I'm getting, you know, plus or minus 30-40% in a day. And so then day 3 comes and it's a little bit better, right? It's maybe, you know, 25% down. So I was like, okay, maybe it's gonna bounce back. Day 5, I think. So now we're almost a week after we changed all the funnels. And this drops down to 50% of what it was a week ago. And now I'm thinking, okay, what is wrong? Something's wrong. And I was like, the only thing we changed was these funnels. And so now I'm freaking out. Like, I just got all these people, our revenue's down. We're pretty much losing money on the front end now on our sales because if you lose 50% of your sales, but you're spending the same amount on advertising, yeah, like even if you have a 30% profit margin, losing 50% of your sales, you're negative 20%. So I'm losing money. I think I'm losing, you know, $500-600 a day. I'm not freaking out 100%, but I am starting to get worried. I mean, it's only 1 week, right? It's only been a 1 week of a downward trend, but this is my first real downward trend in the business, real big one, like the first big one. You know, 6 days, 7 days, things are not bouncing back. And I think about 9 days in, and I'm scrambling to try to figure out what's going on. You know, everything, I'm looking at everything except for the most obvious thing. The most obvious thing was, hey, we moved the upsell pages and the pixel was on the upsell 1 page, which is now an upsell 2. Let's recap real quick and then I'll go into my little tangent. The consensus is my pixel on upsell 1, so the page after checkout page, right? So they click buy on the next page. It's not a thank you, it's an upsell. I put my pixel on that page and that triggers a purchase in Facebook's mind. It triggers it, say, okay, congratulations, we have a pixel fire for a purchase. But now all those did not happen right away. It happened on page 2. What happens a lot of times is you're gonna get like 20 to 30% of people to get to upsell 1. They'll see the offer, they just leave the page 100%. They just close the browser. So they never see the other offers, they never actually make it to the thank you page. I mean, that's normal, right? But if my pixel was still on page 1, it would have still fired. But 20% of the time, that pixel that's now on page 2 never fired. And that little bit of difference, that little bit of 20% of the time that people are not actually making it through the upsell sequence, offset my pixel enough to take all 400 of my campaigns, all 400 of them, and completely kill them. 100% died. In a span of 20, 30 days or whatever, like about a month, all 400 of my campaigns, we were going from 15,000 a day in revenue. We were down at $1,500. I think at the low it was like $1,200 at the low. We're talking, I'm freaking out because I literally killed my business by making a small change and having the pixel fire on another page. Now, don't let this scare you too much, but I wanted to make this video to tell you how important the pixel is in your business. Now, I know I preach about, hey, pixel doesn't matter, right? And it really doesn't for the first to figure out whether it's a winning product. So when you're looking for a brand new product and you're trying to figure out if it's gonna start making sales and it's a new design or new product or whatever, if it's a true winner, if it's a true super winning product, you don't need a pixel. Any event fire is gonna work. That product's gonna sell 20, 30, 40 units before it needs a pixel. After it exhausts that initial reach of the audience that would buy, that want to buy that, then the pixel has to come in and help it go find more people in more parts of the audience, and that's when the pixel is useful. Well, in my case, these are all aged campaigns. These campaigns have been running weeks, if not months already. I got 450 of these things, and all of a sudden I make this drastic change. I move the pixel from upsell 1 down to upsell 2, and that change offset and made the pixel like freak out, and now it unoptimized itself. And now, do I think it would have re-optimized? Well, I'll tell you here in a second, right? It unoptimized itself in the span of 20 to 30 days, all 400 campaigns, and they all stopped working. And so once I realized that was the problem, I put the pixel back on page 1. And the thing is, I could not get that campaign, like I let them sit for another 2 weeks. So now we're going on like 5 weeks of this entire process of since I made the mistake to when I'm still trying to troubleshoot and get the campaigns back to normal. We're like 5 weeks. And all this time I'm losing money. I think at some days I was losing $2,000 or $3,000 a day because I'm spending $4 or $5 grand a day in ads and I'm losing on the front end. And then product costs and shipping and all this kind of stuff I'm losing. And so that month I lost like, I don't know, $60,000 or something. Just trying to keep like if I stopped ads 100%, I went to lost $60,000. But because I kept ads running, because I was positive that they would bounce back, I lost a lot of money because I was going negative and more negative and more negative on my ads in order to hopefully that it would come back around. Well, the thing is, it did come back around, but it came back around like almost 8 weeks later. And the reason why it came back around was not because the campaigns bounced back themselves. It was because I relaunched every single one of those 400 campaigns. I relaunched with a new ad creative. And this is how I know like how to relaunch and get things back selling again so well, is because I've been through like a traumatic thing with like 500 campaigns at once. And what's the fastest way to get 500 campaigns or 450, whatever, 450 campaigns back alive? What's the fastest way? It's new ad creative. So I would test like, if we were running at 1200 by 1200, I would test a 1600 or 1200 by 1600. If I was testing a 1200 by 1600, if I was running at 1200 by 1600, I would test a video ad. If it was a video ad, I would go back to 1200 by 1200. And so all the campaigns have different ads at the time. So I would relaunch all of these. Now the thing is, I couldn't relaunch them all at the same time. I would go even more negative on ads, and I couldn't afford that. Like I was already losing, and so it took close to 12 weeks. I think close to 12 weeks to get 100% back out of the negative into the positive, back to the 7, 8, 9, 10 K days. When I saw what happened to my business because of a simple mistake of just moving the pixel from one page to another, and I'm 100% positive it's that. There was nothing in my business that changed in that span of that time, except that upsell. And maybe someone says, oh, it's just a coincidence that, Facebook did some algorithm change or whatever. No, because I actually did a test later on with just 5, because I wanted to make sure. I did a test with just 5 campaigns that I didn't care 100% about. I wanted to see, hey, if I move the pixel again, what's gonna happen? And those campaigns died. And actually, there was one campaign, this is the funny part, this is why I know this is true. There was one campaign of the 450, one of them, that my staff forgot to update the pixel and did not move the pixel to the second page. Guess what campaign just kept on cranking away, made sales the entire time without tanking and never had a problem. It was that campaign we forgot to update. And that is why I know without a doubt how sensitive the pixel is, how serious you have to take it. And when everybody talks about, hey, I got a store about kitchen supplies or general products, and I want to start doing print on demand, and they ask me, can I use my new pixel or can I use the same pixel? And the answer is no, you cannot. You can if you want to retrain that pixel 100% and only focus on print on demand. Now, you can't just focus on print on demand either. There's different ways that you can make a pixel, and I want to make another video about this, so I'm just going to give you the short version right here, and then we're going to make a really long video about how important pixel consistency is. But from this video, you should guess how important it is. There's a couple ways to keep a pixel consistent. Is you can focus on a product, so it means your store is one product. Now this goes back to my other video, if you watch my videos, why I choose the way I set up my stores the way I set up. It's because I'm doing it because of the pixel. I set up a store with a product specific pixel, or product specific store, so that means there's only wallet cases on my store with many niches. That way I train the pixel for people that buy wallet cases, and then it doesn't matter the niche. There's another way. You can have a niche specific store with many products, but then you're training the pixel for people that buy products in that niche. And then there's another way where you could do a design specific, and I actually prefer that. I like that. I just wish we could have more pixels. I want to go back to 3 years ago when we did not have the master Facebook pixel. And if you're watching this in the future, it's probably 4 or 5 years ago. But there was not a master Facebook pixel before. You could create as many pixels as you wanted, and you could have a pixel for every product if you want it. And that was the way that I preferred it because it worked so amazing. And then when they came out with the master pixel, I started using custom conversions to try to replicate the same thing, and it worked okay. And then eventually that stopped working, and then I was forced to go to the master pixel. And then when I went to the master pixel, yeah, that's actually another story of how, trying to figure out how to keep my business alive when I had to transition from the old pixel to the new pixel, and the difference and how that behaved different, because it did not behave the same. But back to my little story about pixel consistency. You want to keep pixel very consistent with what it optimizes for. You do not want to put a bunch of data into the pixel. You want to keep the same type of data over and over and over again. That's going to help you optimize better. But I'm going to make a whole video about pixel consistency and everything about that in the future. This is the end of my story, how the importance of the pixel, and note that you do not want to do some of the crazy stuff that I have done. If you'd like more stories about print on demand, more stories about Facebook ads, and more stories about Shopify, hit the like button, hit subscribe, the notification bell, and I'm going to see you guys on the next video when I talk about that pixel consistency. Guys, peace, love, cheers, and I will see you soon.